not the best today. Could we invite the Water for Life EdenNZ Trust and Martin Hadley and Ray Sleeman are here to present to us. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Leanne and councillors, for the opportunity to meet with you and to give you an update of where we are with this rather exciting project. Apology from Professor Simmons, who's currently overseas, and I'm here with Ray, who you've already met. You've already had one presentation back in February, and so I don't intend to go through verbatim the notes that I've given you, page and a half, but you'll see there under item 3 that we've been working and had an offer of support from Grimshaw's, the international firm of architects, who are coming out here in about a month's time to coincide with a visit of the Eden founder and CEO to view our project and to have some input into it. You'll see there in the statement from Grimshaw's, which was completely unsolicited when we met them, that they're delighted to be involved. They were and are the architects for the Eden UK project and clearly have a very good understanding of how to design architecture to take into account the natural landscape and based on our basic theme. We're also, of course, very grateful for the concept work that is currently going on by Mick Abbott and his team at Lincoln Design Lab and the students there, and also with the local architect. The thing about our submission is really to reiterate that the core values of Eden coincide exactly with the goals of Council, right across the board, and therefore, without going into each of those separate disciplines, we wish to congratulate Council on thinking about us and this project in the consultative document. I've set out in section 5 there the progress that's been made since the last presentation to Council, and it's working along very quietly behind the scenes as we engage with all the various stakeholder groups, and the design, which has many iterations, is taking into account those stakeholder points. The key issues are set out in section 6, and essentially what we have is a visit from Sir Tim Smith, the founder of Eden UK, and the CEO coming out here in the first week of July. Eden UK are looking to internationalise their brand and are looking to set up 2 or 3 in China, and so their visit here comes after their visit to China, 1 in Canada and 1 in Europe. And so what we have as our small group secured a 2-year period to try and work up a concept for Christchurch to be the Australasian Eden site. Not in Auckland, not in Melbourne, not in Sydney, but here. And the wow factors include how you recover a devastated land to something really special. So they'll be here to meet with us, to look at the site, to look at our values, have some working sessions on bringing their input and their intellectual property into our concept, and to explain to the people of Christchurch, including yourselves and the stakeholders, how that project had a big impact on Cornwall and its recovery. We also hope that they'll be able to meet the various ministers and their portfolios to also convince them that this is a worthy project for Christchurch. You'll see there on the second page there's a bullet point there that this is essentially phase 1 and about this project. If we get their endorsement and support, for which we're asking Council to take a lead role as a key stakeholder, along with clearly Ngāi Tahu and the other councils and ECAN, then we move to phase 2, which is essentially the preparation of feasibility study, and at that point it's either yay or no that this project stacks up. If it goes ahead, then the phase 3 clearly would be design, and the capital raising in stage 4 would be the build and open. So we've got a long way to go, but we are right at the front end of this project. And so what we're requesting of council is set out on page 2, under number 7, which is really to receive your endorsement in a number of ways and to ask that your various departments and disciplines look to work and provide in their work streams activities which might help us achieve a synergistic goal. Perhaps I could just ask Ray Sleeman, who's just come back from Eden in the UK, to make some quick observations, given we've only got a couple of minutes, and leave you for some questions. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Martin. Yeah, I think over the last year or so, we've had a number of people that have been to Eden. I was there a few weeks ago, and I met with David Harland, who's the CEO there. And I think it's probably, well, it's a little bit difficult to tell you the importance of the relationships that we're actually building with those people. They are excited about the project here, as much so as one in China and those in Canada, and the one in Canada as well. They've been in operation for about 13 years now, and also about 4 years of development. So they've been almost a laboratory for us, if you like. They've got a huge amount of experience. Eden UK is a unique attraction. It's not, it hasn't been done anywhere else. So there's a lot of learnings for us there, and they're very willing to work with us and for us to gain the experience that they've had. Just want to make perhaps some other comments about the market here at the moment. Having just come back, it's interesting to see what's been happening, and there's certainly in the news recently has been that we're going to, by 2020, I think it is, we're going to have 48% increased spending by international visitors, and by 2025 we'll have had a 6% annual growth in international visitors. That's all well and good. It doesn't guarantee Christchurch anything. And I think that's a point that we have to bear in mind. At the moment, I do quite a lot of research for various organisations, and at the moment we're about 630,000 guest nights down on Queenstown. We're 700,000 guest nights down on where we were before the earthquake. Auckland we've lost 700,000, Auckland's gained 500,000. We're in a very difficult position. And I think when we presented to you recently, we showed some icons of Pisa, Leaning Tower, Eiffel Tower, etc. I think people instantly recognise those and they define the city. What do we have here at the moment? What are our icons? What are going to be our icons for the future? And unless we do that, we're going to find ourselves in deep trouble. We need those icons as much for the other facilities that are here. A convention centre alone will not be sufficient in attracting people here. They rely on things to do as well while they're here. So that's an important point. Just one last thing. As I was coming back on the plane, I picked up a newspaper in Singapore, Singapore Straits Times, and there was a two-page article in that by a South African who had visited New Zealand and was extolling its virtues, if you like, Hawke's Bay, Queenstown, Auckland. Christchurch didn't even get a mention. We're off the radar. While that's only one example, it is an important one from someone who's heavily involved in the tourism industry. And that's quite scary, I think, when you think that we used to be the second most popular destination in New Zealand, and now we're nowhere near that. Now, I'm not saying that the Eden project is going to be the saviour of everything. It certainly won't be. But unless we have those icon attractions that attract people, people come to places to see and do things. And I think we need to understand that, and that's certainly why we're here. We see this as a really important attraction for the future. So I haven't left much time there. But
No, Paul, really only one question, I'm sorry.
Look, I fully agree with you and everything you've said, and I'd like to ask a question around obviously the 1 million guest nights and the reduction to our gateway status. What impact financially does that have to the South Island? Do you know?
Well, I don't know the actual figures, but you don't have to be a rocket scientist to work it out that it's enormous.
It's about $500 million, I think.
Yeah.
Fine, but it is significant, and I think it actually is.
Yeah. I think we should say that, I mean, the airport has done a fantastic job in getting people coming to the South Island, but we're not getting the advantage of that. And unless we work on projects that are going to recover and then grow, then we're going to continue to be in trouble.
Yeah, I think the draft visitor strategy discussion document has highlighted the need for us to be a destination as well as a gateway, and the need for one or two iconic attractions to be part of that. So, but I will put in a plug for the Botanic Gardens and the museum, which are actually fantastic attractions and have been visited, probably more frequently than anything else. But we do need to have something that's got that legacy factor to it, and I think I love the idea, but in terms of your request around the residential red zone, we don't really have the authority, but maybe some potential influence. So, thank you very much for your submission. Gary Moore. I should say former Mayor Gary Moore.